Hello. Hi, this is Kat Chancellor with Stamp Art Connection and StampArtConnection.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Hello. Hi, this is Kat Chancellor with Hi, this is Kat Chancellor with Stamp Art Connection and StampArtConnection.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I'm coming to you live this Sunday afternoon because I have a kind of a neat, fancy fold card to make for you today. Something that would be good for January for you to sit down and start making, I don't know, thinking about birthday cards for the rest of the year. I mean, don't you have a lot of birthdays for the entire year that you could start thinking about? Well, I certainly do. And this was primarily inspired by my really good friend, Amy, who is also a demonstrator, and I'll give a link to her site so that you can go visit the things that she does. Anyway, if you're watching, say something, say hello, and let me know what you're doing this Sunday afternoon while we kind of work on this fancy fold. Okay, here's the card, but I wanted to show, and I guess I kind of already showing what the card can do. Is that when we're going to make a card that when you pull the card like this, it's going to pull like that, and we're going to learn how to make this mechanism right here. And see how beautiful? I mean, those are just some really neat ideas. So let's go ahead and get started. Our pattern card is going to be this card right here, and I'm going to be using the Garden Wishes stamp set and the Here's a Card stamp set for some of my sentiments that we're going to use for our card. We're going to need some cardstock, and I have a number of pieces here, and I'll give you measurements as we go on, but you're going to need, definitely like for your base card, you're going to need a full piece of cardstock, and then you're going to need like a contrasting color, or a color that is going to be used to complement your card. I'm using this beautiful DSP here because I'm going to go ahead and we're going to put a little inset in here. And then I'm going to demonstrate how we're going to use our gilded leafing to create kind of a really nice border. As I said, I have my sentiments for the different pieces. I'm going to need some, and I'm using Very Vanilla because besides just the base card that we have, we're going to layer it. So you're going to need a couple of pieces of your either a Whisper White or a Very Vanilla to go ahead and use that to stamp on your card. Now, the other thing that we're going to use, I'll probably be using some ink because I'm going to stamp my sentiments. So I have some ink. I also have Memento here in case I want to use that. And I'm going to need, and let me show you. Here's a bag, right? It's just a shopping bag, and it's just one of these paper bags. We're going to need a strip. And I've already taken a piece off. You can see how this is open on this end. I've taken a piece off, and this would be the piece right here. And it's cut about 2 inches. But this is a piece of bag that you're going to need for the mechanism that is going to pull our card back and forth. So we're going to need a piece of just simply like a shopping bag. Okay, so now that I think I've kind of laid out all the pieces and parts that you're going to need. Of course, you're going to need some tear tape, and let me pull out my tear tape. Let's see, you're going to need some tear tape. I'm going to bring out some glue, and I think that's basically all I'm going to need. I also have this really skinny tear tape. I'm going to pull that out. I'm going to see if I can play with that. Okay, so I think I have all my pieces and parts. So let me just kind of move them aside. And let's go ahead and get started. Oh, for using your the gilded gold, you're going to need, I'm going to pull out a little coffee filter on my little tray here. And you're definitely going to need a embossing buddy. And there is this heat and stick powder that we're going to use. I like to have kind of a brush. And you're going to need your Versamark. And that is basically what you're going to need for the heat and stick powder for us to use these gilded flakes. All right, so let me put that aside over here. So let me make sure I've moved out. Okay, I have moved out. So now let me put this aside here. And let's talk about our double-sided card. You're going to need a piece of, and here's the base card. It's going to be 5.5 by 9 inches, and this is going to be the frame, the slider frame right here. You're also going to need a couple of pieces of cardstock that are going to slide along here, and those are going to be 2.5 by 2 by 4.5 and 2.5 by 4, and we're going to call them kind of pieces A and B. And I'll show you my template here in a minute. And then you're going to need some layering pieces, and these are the pieces here that we're going to layer using terracotta tile, and then we're going to stamp on Berry Vanilla. Okay, so and then my middle piece in here is going to be this really pretty DSP right there. Okay, so let's start out with looking at our, I'm just going to move these aside. And let's start out with looking at our template. Here is, and I actually have 2 templates. I've made 2 templates here. This is what the your 9-inch, this is 9 inches going across. So this is your 9 by 5 by 5.5 right there, piece of cardstock that we're going to cut out of our Mossy Meadow. You're going to need your scoreboard because we're going to do some scorings in order to make the folds. I'm also using a punch And I have a 1 1/4 punch because I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to punch these little thumb tab openings that you need to pull your card. This piece here is on this side, and I don't know if you can, how well you can see it, but if you look, you can see that I've notched out a side right here. This is where, and you can see here is the paper, or rather the bag, the plastic shopping bag. This is your mechanism. So when you pull, it's going to, let me see. See, when you pull, it's going to open and close, okay? And I have them marked. This is the A that I talked about, and this is the B. So we'll cut each. I've also stamped on what side you're going to lay your card and fasten it to our mechanism, and then on what side do you want to put your stamps so that it will show up when the card is folded. It's really not that complicated, but it does take a little bit of time. So here's another one, and what I have here are the sizes for the layering, and I don't know if you can see that. Let me pull in. I think it's 4 3/4 by 2 3/4, 4.5 by 2.5. Those are going to be my layering pieces. And then if we looked at our A and our B, I think I have it right here. The B is 2.5 by 4, and the layering piece is you're going to have, the layer is going to be 2 1/4 by 3 3/4, and then the Whisper White or the Very Vanilla is going to be 2 by 3 1/2. And I have the same thing on this side. So our A piece is going to be 2.5 by 4.5. Our layering piece, in this case, it's going to be our terracotta tile, is going to be 2.5 by 4 1/4. And then the Whisper White or a Very Vanilla piece that we're going to stamp on is going to be 2 by 4 inches. Okay. And that is pretty much, what we're going to have for measurements. So let me just put these aside and let's cut. Let me bring in my cutting board and let's go ahead and cut this. Let me pull out. How's everyone doing on Sunday? Are you having a restful Sunday? It is very cold here. I have on a sweatshirt and I'm trying to stay warm. Okay, this is going to be 9 inches. So I'm measuring that right there to 9 inches. Let me get some of this stuff out of the way. And let me just put that right there. Okay, and then it's going to be 5.5. So let's cut that at 5.5. Okay, so this is our base. So now let's look at these pieces here because I'm going to need 2 of the our pull pieces, A and B. So I'm going to need, one is 4 and the other one is 4.5. So let's see if I can get both of those out of this. If not, we'll have to get another piece of paper. Okay, this is 4, and this is 4.5. And then this should be 2.5. Let's just go right there, 2.5. And then this is 2.5. Let's get that one right there. Okay, so now we have our tabs. All right, so now let's go ahead and cut our layering piece for our tabs, and we're going to be using our terracotta tile. Well, I'm going to need, for layering, I'm going to need, since this is 2.5, I'm going to use 2 3/4, right? And then since this is, or rather, since this is 4, I'm going to use it 3 3/4. So let's go ahead and cut this at 3 3/4. And then we will cut at 2 1/4, since it was 2.5. I'm going to bring that back to 2 1/4. And that should, yeah, that's pretty good right there. Now remember, you're not going to see everything on the bottom, right? Because we're going to pull from the top. So it doesn't matter if it doesn't get all the way down there. So this one, we can do the same thing with this one here. This one is going to be cut at, and that is 2.5. So I'm going to cut this one at 2 1/4. And that can go again right there. So there's our two pull pieces. Okay. Now I want to cut my front layer, and just to be on the safe side, let's just go ahead and measure what this is. So this is going to be 2 3/4. Yeah, 2 3/4 by 4 3/4. So let's cut this. Two 3/4 right there. 2 3/4 by, I'm so bad at numbers, I can never remember. I got that one right. Let's see. That's 4 3/4. Okay. So that's 4 3/4 right there. Okay. So this is going to be our layered piece that's going to go on there. So now let's put these pieces aside, and let's go ahead and grab our Whisper White. So here's a piece of Whisper White. And I want my Whisper White to be 2 by 4. So let's just go ahead and cut this 2. And I can do, what is this? This is 7. I can do this then 3.5, right? Let's just cut that in half, 3.5. And what I should have is I should have a piece, yeah, and I do, that it's going to layer. It's going to layer right there, and that's going to be on the top. And then I have this piece that's going to layer right there, and that's going to be on the bottom. And I'll trim these bottom pieces, but let's go ahead and put those aside because we have our tabs. Now I want to cut. I'm going to cut my DSP that's going to go around the end, and I think I have that right here. And that DSP is going to be, and let me bring in again, let me just make sure I have all my pieces here, is going to be a 1 3/4 by 3 3/4. Okay, so 1 3/4 by 3 3/4. All right, so here's our DSP that's going to go right there, and that's going to go on the front of our card, and we're going to embellish it with some of this gold. So I have all my pieces right here that I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to just set this aside, and that's really all the cutting I have to do right now. The next thing I want to do is I want to take my template out here, and you can see that with the template is scored at 8 5/8. So let me grab in my scoreboard. Put our scoreboard right here. Okay. So it's 9. So 8 5/8 is the first line from the half, because that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to score that right there. Then I'm going to score at 5 3/4, 5 3/4, and then I'm going to score at 2 3/4, 2 3/4. Now, what I kind of like to do is I like to take this and turn it this way and very lightly score 3/4 all the way down, or rather, let's see, I kind of want to, yeah, let's see. This is going to be there. I want to put 3/4 right here, or rather, let's look at this. Okay, and let me move that out of the way. Okay, so you see how this lays out here? I want to score, just so that I can make sure that this is straight, is I want to score 1, 2, 3, 3/8, really, right there. And then I'm going to turn this like this, and we're going to score this at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's 1, 2, 3/8 right there. And what I'm doing here is I'm just going to create where the edges of my notched piece is going to be. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to kind of, I'm going to do the 3/8 kind of right there. And then I'm going to come all the way down here. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here, 3/8. And again, I'm just kind of very lightly scoring it, because I just kind of like to keep, I can barely see those. I can barely see those lines, but I'm going to need those lines, okay? All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to look at our middle piece here. Okay, we got that right there. We're going to go ahead. I'm going to put this aside because I'm done with the scoreboard. And we're going to grab my scissors. And I have my scissors. Look at this. I got this neat little package here when I went to one of the on stages several years ago. So I'm doing some moving, so I'm trying to keep my tools kind of in one place, because I'm kind of rearranging things in my craft room. All right, so what we're going to do with that piece, and let me just show you what it is. This piece right here, we're going to notch this out, and we're going to use those score lines that we kind of lightly scored. So I'm going to notch that, I'm going to notch that, and then I'm going to notch that, I'm going to notch that. And then I'm just going to fold this down, because then I'm going to cut this right about there. There we go. And then I'm going to kind of fold this back, and I'm going to cut this one right about there. Okay, so now this is where my mechanism is going to go. So I'm going to take my paper strip, which should be about 2 inches, and that will fit right here along this piece. And if it doesn't, what we're going to do is we're going to cut our paper here. Well, that works pretty well. I'm going to cut this so that it just overlaps just a little bit. Put that aside, because look, I can make, well, not quite, but you can make two mechanisms out of one bag. And what I want to do is I just kind of want to take this and I just want to kind of trim it down. And these scissors are not going to work for me because they're kind of gluey. Let me see if I can find a better pair of scissors. I hate gluey scissors. Let's see if these will work. Yeah, I'm just going to trim this a little bit because I want to make sure that it fits in that notch nicely. Okay. Let me go make sure that these, okay, so now let's lay it, and yeah, see how nice it fits, and it's going to slide nicely. So what I do is I'm just going to take this on the inside, I'm going to fold it like this. It's nice and smooth, okay, and it's flat. I'm going to fold it over. So if I'm going to fold it over this way, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a piece of tear tape and I'm going to basically just put a piece of tear tape right there. And let's cut that. And then let me get my little tool bag here and pull out my favorite little tool, which is my, oh, here it is. Here's my favorite little tool right here. My handy dandy tool. Open that. Oh, we're just going to kind of pull that paper up right there. If it wants to cooperate. It's going under. I want it to go on top and pick that top piece up. Is that it? Yeah, there it is. Okay. So I'm just going to very carefully pull that off. Lay that flat, okay? Got that flat, and then I'm just going to go ahead and fold that over. Now, it's pretty snug. See that? It's pretty snug because, but it's not, it's you know, it's as snug as you can make it as you wrap it around. All right, and then I'm just going to go ahead and I can trim some of this now if I want to. Not really necessary, but just be careful you don't puncture your piece. Okay, so let's get a bone folder. I'm reaching over my bag over here to get my bone folder out, and I would just want to make sure that I fold my creases, because this is how it's going to go. And this piece is going to go inside like this, all right? This is basically how this will tie up. And you'll notice that we have enough here that it's not going to crimp that piece there, okay? So now let's talk about how we're going to put in our notches. Now, because I have a very light with my scoreboard, I can kind of look at the middle. So the middle of this is, and this is only if you're going to get like, you know, super. This is 3. So the middle of this is 1.5. So 1.5 is right there. Okay. Let me just pull in so you can see. I have this very light score line that I did on my scoreboard, and I just measured 1.5. So what I want to do, and let me pull in my card, you can see that this is going to have to be notched right there on both sides, because our thumb is going to be pull, and that's going to come out. So I like to measure kind of right at the middle. I'm going to get a circle punch, but I'm only going to go down as far as that line that I scored with my scoreboard. And since this is the back, I'm just going to kind of draw that line and see if you can kind of see that. Do you see that? Okay. So I'm going to turn it around because I want, and I have it folded because I just want to be able to line this up, and it's not going any further. It's not going any further than that line. It's not going any further than that line. I just kind of put it there. So the bottom of my circle goes right there, and I'm just going to kind of put that in the middle. And what's nice is that with Stampin' Up, you've got a little 1 in there because this is a 1-inch punch, and that's right in the middle. So you just line up your little line right there with that 1, and you should be square on. Okay, so now I've notched, I've nicely notched my my piece. Now, look at that. I made a little hole, a little tear, but I'm going to fix that. I'm going to fix that. I'm just going to bring that down, and I'm just going to put a piece of Scotch tape on it. So, I mean, I guess that's kind of a, hey, beware, right? But there it is. There it's folded out. Now, I'm going to put this aside for now because I'm going to pull in our A and B pieces. Okay, that goes over there. Okay, and this goes over here. Now, the longer one, which doesn't make any sense to me, the longer one is the A piece. And let me just go ahead and cut this so that it kind of, okay, so that goes there. And then this one is the B piece. Okay, so let's go ahead and put these pieces on our card. And I'm just going to just put a little bit of glue. Putting a little bit of glue. I'm going to just line that up right there. Okay, and we're going to take this piece as well. We're just going to put some glue on this piece. And it's very thin. Just kind of want a thin coverage that goes onto this piece. Okay, and then we're going to put these two pieces here, and this piece here, this long piece, is your A, and this piece is your B. So your A goes on the bottom, and your B is going to go on the top. So anything that you want to put on the top of your card is going to go on the B piece, and anything that goes on the bottom is going to go on the A piece. So you kind of want to line them up like that. And before I glue them, I want to stamp just to make sure that I kind of get it right. So let me pull in my stamps. Happy birthday. Let's see, I've got wishing you all the best. And I'm going to put that on the outside, and I'm going to put happy birthday on the top. So when you pull that out, it says happy birthday. And on the bottom, I want to say thank you for being my friend. And then this is going to go on the outside. Okay. So I'm going to use, let's see, what color do I want to use for this? I think I'm just going to use Memento Black. And I'm just going to pick up my stamp right there. And let me make sure that I have a piece of scrap paper. Just looking for a piece of scrap paper. Okay, here's a piece of scrap paper. I just want to make sure everything stamps neatly. Okay, so I'm just going to, yes, thank you for being my friend. Okay, so that's going to go on the bottom right there. Okay, thank you for being my friend. And then the top of this one is going to be, let me clean that off. The top is going to be our happy birthday. Let me just ink it up and just make sure I get a nice clean impression. And I'm going to put happy birthday. And you know what? I used the side. See, I cut the wonky side. I'm going to turn that around. I'm going to make sure I use the straight edge. This side's a little straighter. Isn't that beautiful? What I mean about the wonky side is this is the side that I just trimmed with scissors, and it's kind of not very straight. I guess you can kind of see that on the black. I don't really want that, so I just flipped it. I just flipped it around. So easy breezy. Now I'm going to take a piece of, I should have another piece of Whisper or Very Vanilla here. Let me find a piece of Very Vanilla, and I'm just going to stamp my wishing you all the best. Because I'm going to find a way to okay, so let me just leave those there. Clean off my stamp. I'm just going to set that aside. So that goes on my outside, and there's my paper. Okay, so now that I know, again, that the A goes on the bottom and the B goes on the top, you see that? A goes on the bottom, there's my notch, B goes on the top. I'm going to bring in, now I'm going to glue this, and this is where I may want to use, I think I'm going to use some tear tape here, because I just want that not to pick up at all when it is being slid back and forth. Okay, I just want to make sure that all my edges are going to stick down like that. Okay, so we just use a little bit of tear tape, and have you noticed, I don't know if you've noticed, but my nails are much shorter. I got some wonderful some wonderful gifts from some of my customers that actually sent me some nail products because they know how much I love my nails. But, I decided, after living through 2020, still dealing with COVID, that maybe I need a little change, right? And that's okay. We're all entitled to a little change. And I just thought I'd go a little bit shorter. I'm also struggling. I'm not a professional, but I do my own nails. So I do struggle a little bit with getting fungus, and it just kind of scares me. So I thought maybe I would take some of the product off, or take a lot of product off, and just kind of go with a little bit shorter nail so that I can make sure that my nails are healthy. I do miss my professionals. I miss my hair lady. And now some of you already go out and do things, but I've been pretty true. My husband and I have been pretty true because things are a little crazy here in Florida. A little crazy. Okay, so that one's there. And then I'm going to do this one. Let me just take my little pieces and parts. Yeah, well, we've been pretty consistent with our COVID because we could. I work from home. We just decided, unless we really have to go out, it's also a good way to find out, what do you really need? What do you really need to do? And we really found that there really wasn't much we needed to do. I got used to doing my own hair, my own nails, and it was kind of like, well, let's just go with it. Okay. So there are our tops and bottoms. And now I'm going to open this up, and we're going to pull in one of these stamps. Let me just, because that's what those are, right? And if I just pull in I'm kind of wondering how I can decorate the bottom, but maybe I really don't need to. Maybe I don't need to. And this is what happens when I'm doing something live like this. Okay, I'm doing something live, and then I just get struck with like inspiration, and I start going off the rails, or I start going a totally different direction. I hope that's not frustrating. Sorry for the dead time, but I hope it's not frustrating, because sometimes I look at things, I'm like, I could probably do something like, I could take these little flies, see? Take these little flies, and I put them on my stamp, and I can go ahead and grab, let me go over here, I'm going to grab crushed curry, and let me get my sheet again. And what I want to do is, let's put something, look at that, just very, very light. It's basically a stamp off. There you go. So there, I kind of decorated that a little bit, which kind of gives it a little bit more color. And I'm kind of liking that. So, thanks for pulling with me, just kind of hanging in there. I got someone else watching, let me know who you are. So I use this stamp right here from the Dragonfly Garden. I use the Wishing You All the Best, which is going to be my outside sentiment from the Garden Wishes. And then here's a card. I use the happy birthday and thank you for being my friend. So I just wanted to kind of go over those. So here are, this is the A and this is the B. So if we lay out our piece, okay, this is what we have right here. We're going to lay this out, and then I'm going to lay out my template, okay? So you can kind of see, here's our flap, right? That goes on the end, and here's our mechanism. Now, to have the hello, you notice I stamped, I will want this happy birthday to be put right here. And then I will want, thank you for being my friend. You see how it's down here? So it's actually going to be put upside down on the back of this. And it's going to go like that, all right? And what I'm going to do is we're going to put the tape right at the top of the let's do it this way. We're going to take the A. We're going to do the A first. I'm going to flip it over like this, and I'm going to put my tape right at the top. So let's line up this bottom, okay? Because that's what's going to pop out. We're going to line up our bottom perfectly with the bottom of our card. I'm going to draw a line right here, okay? And I think you can see the line. Let's pull in. Whoa. Okay, so I just drew a line. There it is. You see that line I just drew right there? Okay, so that's where I'm going to grab my tear tape, and I'm going to lay my tear tape down right on that line right there. We're going to cut that as close to the edge as we can. And then I'm going to get my tool. Oh, here it is. And we're just going to, I'm going to kind of just rub it in, and we're going to pull this wrapper off. It's a little difficult because it's laying on such a thin little sheet of shopping bag. It's kind of hard to poke it up. Okay, there we go. All right, so I'm going to pull that off. All right. So now this, okay, and that's why I want to pull this out. Here's my A, right? This is A because it's the same size. It's 4.5. The A is 4.5, and it goes upside down on this side. So we're going to put this right at the top of our tear tape, right dab in the middle. There you go. Okay, so there is our. Okay, hold on. You know what I did? I should have done it this way. Let me redo this. Okay, do you see what I did? I did it upside down, but I want it upside down so that this comes out, and I forgot to do that. Did you see what mistake I made there? So I'm not going to worry about that piece, but basically I needed to put this one. I'm going to line it up again. Okay, because this has to show at the bottom, because this is what's going to pull out. See, I didn't do that. So you have to kind of be careful you know, what your, because this is my front. So when they pull this, this is going to come out the bottom. So now the top one, all right, is going to, and where's my top piece? My top piece is going to go right here because that's going to go there. Okay. Yep, that's going to go there. Okay, so my top piece, okay, is going to go, I'm going to look at this. See how I got my stamp right here on my top piece? So here's my template. You can see there's my bottom, right? I'm going to gently pull. There's my bottom. You can see I got my bottom there, but I just want to keep that right there for now. All right. So now my top piece is going to go right here. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to draw another line right here. And I'm going to put my tear tape on that line. And we're going to cut that. And we're just going to pick this. Let's see if I can get this to pick up neatly here. I think, yeah, there we go. All right. So now this piece is going to see the top of that, and it's going to lay down nicely right there. All right. So there's our mechanism. Look at that. There's our mechanism, okay? So now that I have that done, I basically just fold this up, and then I've got this little piece here, and this just is going to fold over. See that? I've got this piece which slides. Well, this is going to fold over like that, and we're going to put tear tape along this edge, and it's just going to be right there. Okay? So look at that. There is our mechanism. Isn't that gorgeous? Okay. So let's put the let's go ahead and put that tear tape on. So I'm going to open it like this, and I want the tear tape as close to this edge as possible. So let's go ahead and put the tear tape right there. I love this stuff. I love tear tape. When I started out, everything I did was snail. And then I noticed that sometimes my snail didn't last as long as I wanted. I seem to be having good luck with the new stuff, but now it's glue and tear tape. All right. So now we're going to, let me just pull this in so you can see. I've got this. Here is my piece that's going to run along the track of my mechanism. I want to fold it inside that piece right there. There you go. Look at that. There's our mechanism. Isn't that nice? Look at that. It's beautiful. See? Okay. So now we're going to do our front. Now, I'm going to go ahead and let me bring in, again, some paper here. We're going to put, what I want to do first is I want to decorate the outside of my piece, because this is going to go here, and then this is going to go right here. So I want to decorate this. So to decorate this, I am going to need, I'm going to need some tear tape. I'm going to, let me move some of my pieces and parts aside. I'm going to need my heat gun, and I'm going to need my Versamark. Or actually, I don't need Versamark. In fact, I don't even need my heat and stick powder. I'm going to show you why. But I am going to need my little buddy here. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do this. And then I'm going to line this tear tape up right here. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to lay it down and make a border. Make sure I have my sharp scissors, and I'm going to cut as square as I can. We're just going to lay this out like this. I'm going to butt it up right next to that and just go across. And then we're going to cut. And if it's a little bit off, just bend it back a little, you know, snip it. You can do, you know, it's easy to do. And then we're just going to go ahead and go all the way down like this. I'm trying to abut it as close as possible. Now that's not going to abut because it's kind of at an angle, so I may have to, there, may have to snip it square. Ah, there we go. And it's going to go down right about there. And again, let's snip it square. And we should have a piece that goes right along like that. Well, actually, we want more like that. Let me just snip it square. And we're just going to go with that. Okay. So now I'm just going to kind of grab my bone folder, and I'm going to kind of just make sure, except for this little corner here, I may have to pick that up, but I'm not going to do that right yet, okay? Just going to make sure I trim that piece. I'm just going to make sure that this is nice and adhered. Okay. Grab this. I'm going to grab I have a canister here that I like to use. Okay. And I don't need any of this anymore. This is going to fit nicely right there. Do you see how pretty that's going to be? Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to pull off all the tear tape here. Okay, I'm just going to pull it off. Okay, we're just going to pull it off. Okay, so I've pulled off my pieces. I'm going to open up my little canister, and you can see I've already got some of this in there. I'm just going to lay this down. Now, I like to take my buddy here, and I like to get my fingers nice and kind of powdered up, because what I want to do is I don't want to breathe. You almost have to not breathe. I just want to lay pieces on top of. I'm laying pieces, I'm pulling pieces, I'm grabbing pieces that are in here, tearing off pieces. See that? Now I'm going to open this, and I don't want to breathe. Well, I'll throw a couple new flakes in there. A little goes a long way. I'm just trying to, I'm not talking much because every little bump you make kind of moves all this. All right, now I'm going to close this up. I'm going to use my fingers and I'm just going to kind of burnish, and I'm kind of wiping off the edges, making sure everything kind of gets. Isn't that cool? Okay, so now I'm going to kind of just wipe it off like this. Okay, and I'm going to close my lid. And then I have one of these brushes here. And I'm going to use this brush, and I'm just going to kind of burnish my gold and finish kind of getting it, and it kind of shines up a little bit. See that? Isn't that pretty? And this is in the catalog. So now that I have that done, now I can take this piece and look how pretty that is. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to very lightly go ahead and add some glue. Right there. Oops. Oh. And I'm just going to add that really pretty into the middle of this. And just let that press down. And I'm just going to kind of wipe my fingers. They're not too sticky. And there we go. So now I can put wishing you all the best. Okay, I can put wishing you all the best there. I can also go over here. Let me see if I can find. I don't want to put too much gold, but let's say I want to find something that I can use. What is this? This is Tasteful Labels. Because I want something that's not going to be too big. I think I kind of like this one. Would this one work? Oh, maybe this one here. Yeah, see, that one will work nicely right there. So I'm using Tasteful Labels to cut this out right here. And I'll be right back. Okay, there's wishing you all the best. And then let me put that back. And let me see. I'm gonna cut this right here. Let me come right back. Is this happy? This has some of that 2-ply on the back. I thought this had some. I thought this had some stuff on it. Hold on, I gotta figure out. I had one of these that had some stuff on it, and I can't remember. Yeah, see? I think it has something. No, it doesn't. Okay. Well, I don't care. I cut this out because I'm just going to put this right here because I think that was just lovely like that, which it's going to kind of go between my daffodils or my little dandelions. And let me pull in my mat. What I was trying to figure out was if I had put some of my double-sided adhesive on this, and it looks just like it, but it didn't have it. And I was hoping I had, because then I would just show you how nice it is. So I'm sorry for the, sorry for the long time. Come back and check out my video, because I do edit my videos so that you will get everything with all the kinds of information and less dead time. So it's easier to watch that way. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and we're going to put this like that. And then I'm going to put this up on dimensionals, and let me see if I can find, I think I can find dimensionals. Yeah, here they are. Nope, those aren't dimensionals. Dimensionals. Well, I guess I can't find my dimensionals. That's the one thing I didn't pull out of my bag. So, oh no, here they are. See, I got everything in these little containers because I'm moving. So it's really kind of hard to keep organized because I don't have everything kind of like at my fingertips the way I usually do, and I really apologize for that. But sometimes it can't be helped. And there, we're just going to put that like that. And did I lose? Have I lost people? I don't know. Okay, so now I'm going to take my final piece that I've already folded, and where is it? Oh, here it is. And I'm going to put that on top of here. Isn't that pretty? And that will go like that. And I'm going to use more tear tape, if I can find it, in my pile here. Come to me, tear tape. Where's my tear tape? Oh, I don't know where my tear tape is, so I don't see it anywhere. So I guess I'm just going to have to punt over to the glue. Well, that's just the way it is, I guess. I would have liked tear tape, but we're just going to punt over to the glue. And I'm just going to make sure I kind of get all my edges nice and gluey. And then let me make sure that's my top, right? My notch is my top. So I'm just going to put this down like this. And there you go. How about that? Isn't that gorgeous? Look at that. There is your birthday card using our, I think it's called a double T slide. Using a double T slide. Look at that. Isn't that just pretty? Let me pull out. Yeah, here are the other cards that I put together using the same technique. And using the gilded gold as a border around our card. This was a little kind of a, I want to say that's like a Valentine's card. But here it is. And I just love that. Look at that. See how easy, very easy. Just gently push it back, you know. Excuse me. And it will work for you. So thank you so much. Come back. I will republish this after I've edited it, and you can see it without all the dead time, because I'm moving, so all my stash and my supplies are kind of a little spread around. But I really just wanted to have show you this card and wish you a great day. This is Kat Chancellor with Stamp Art Connection and StampArtConnection.com. Happy stamping.